How's it going, guys? It's Najam back again with another review, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Ajazz AK33 mechanical keyboard. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. Now, when I first got it out of the box, as you probably seen in my video, it just blew my mind with the looks and the size of it. Now, it's really a tiny keyboard, and this is the first time I'm doing a video like this where I'm sitting in front, and I will be showing some pans and some close-ups and everything, which is what normally we're supposed to be doing when it comes to reviewing. Now, this is not really a review, it's just me talking about the keyboard. A review is basically talking about the pros and the cons. I'm just going to talk about the keyboard. So, but everybody else calls these kind of videos reviews, so I guess I'm just going to take it as a review. So, the size of this keyboard is really small. I just really like it, and you know, not including the number pad on the side, which I never really used or never really looked at, it's actually saved a lot of space. Now also the arrow keys I've also clamped down under the enter button and stuff, and all the bits and above the arrow keys, and those 6 buttons I think they were also being clamped down to the right side of the keyboard, just giving you a lot more space to free on the table, and I just really love that. I think I sort of realized that I don't really need the sides, and even though I use the arrow keys, they're all there, they're perfectly there. Now I did find myself getting a little confused if those were the arrow keys or not, because they're sort of been shifted really close to the left side of the keyboard, because you know, next to the enter button and stuff. I'm really used to the normal sized keyboard with the full keys and also the number pad, but I think we're gonna take a little bit of time to getting used to the arrow keys. I do find the arrow keys really comfortable though, so I'm completely fine with that. Now the design of this keyboard is really just beautiful. Now it does have a aluminium plate at the bottom on the switches, well, on the top surface under the keys, and even though it doesn't really shine out a lot, it does reflect the light from the keys and I mean the LEDs under the keys, and it just makes it look so much beautiful and better. It just really shiny, and it just creates so much light as opposed to the other keyboard, which is actually right at the back over there. You probably can't see that, and I don't know what it is. I just really like it. No matter where I am, even if it's just outside or in harsh lighting, you can still see the light, and it just shines straight through the keys, and also at the bottom where there's a lot of space and stuff. And the keys are really big, and they're nice and comfortable, and it's got kickstands, so you can easily pop it up a little bit, and I really like that. Makes it even more comfortable. Now if you sort of notice, the keys, each of the rows are sort of angled from top to bottom in a like a C type shape, and at first I thought that was just for the fun of it or something, and you know it adds on to the design. I find it really a lot more comfortable with the kind of curve on each of the keys, and it just feels a little more natural, I guess, in a way that it sort of wants you to press those buttons, and even though you expect them to take your fingers a little longer to press them, they're already there. So I think that's why I think my hands started hurting on the other keyboard, because they were flat and I had to reach out for the keys on the back side, and it was a little annoying. These ones, they sort of pushed out forward from the top area, and it makes it just a little easy to sort of press them. So it's really cool, and I love the design on this. Now the bottom and the keys are made out of plastic, but that's not all that bad. It is glossy at the bottom, but we're not going to see that a lot because, you know, it's going to be on the table all the time. I do really like the bottom as well though, because it's got a nice curve to it. It isn't all that, you know, noticeable when it comes to being a keyboard. I mean, you don't really even need to notice the looks on it. You're looking at the screen, but either way, you know, it looks really nice, and I'm perfectly fine with the design of it. Okay, now one thing to know or to notice or something is the fact that I have not used a mechanical keyboard before, and since this is my first mechanical keyboard, this is the first kind of key or the switches that I'm using. And this particular keyboard comes with blue switches, and I really love them. They're really soft, but I don't know how they compare to any of the other switches. Now I don't know about I completely have no clue about the brown switches and the MX cherry switches or any of the red switches or anything like that. I did hear the MX cherry switches are sort of the best, I think what they call them. And the Zoro keys, I mean Zoro switches, which is what this keyboard has, they're sort of like a rip-off, a Chinese rip-off of the MX cherry switches. And the only difference I think I heard on the internet was that these are just a tiny bit more stiffer. And the funny thing is, I don't really find it any stiff. It's just the smoothest keys I've ever felt. You just tap them and they just go down themselves, and they make that nice click on the mouse buttons. And I mean, except they just go down a lot rather than not going down like the mouse. It's just so much comfortable. And when it comes to mechanical keyboards, I don't really know much about them. The only thing I can say is this is like really just amazing to use. The feedback is so nice. It's better than any other keyboard I've felt, and it's just so much comfortable and easier to sort of just use this keyboard. And like I said, it comes with blue switches, so whatever you know about them, just let me know in the comment section below. That might help me out. But this one, I think if you get it in black, it comes with brown switches. I'm not sure though, but either way, they're all Zoro switches, I think I heard, and they're pretty much the same as MX cherry switches, except they're not as smooth. So that's just something to keep in mind. It comes with blue switches. That's all I wanted to say. Went on mumbling it now. Now this keyboard really lights up, and I mean a lot, as opposed to the other one that barely lights up in any way. I mean, yes, it is backlit, you can see in the dark and everything, not on the camera properly, unless you look at it from straight from the top. This, however, shines all over the place. Even in daytime, you can see it lighting up and lighting everything up around it. I used it in the night, and my TV was glowing all the way around with a blue tint to it, and then everything else had a freaking blue tint to it. Now, I did like the look of it, the keyboard, because it just stood out from everything else because it's in white. The rest of the things I've got are in black, other than my headphones and the Xperia Z Ultra. It's just so bright. You can't sort of turn down the brightness by pressing the FN key and using the up and down arrows. The keys are sort of labeled with velocity and also the brightness levels. If you hold the FN key down, which is not exactly a different color, it just goes along with every other key. They're all exactly the same. They all exactly the same color. Now this is not RGB keyboard. It's just a single light, and that's blue or some kind of cyan color that has a blue tint to it. And I really love the look of it. I really love the look of the color that this thing pumps out. Now I have no problem viewing each of the key in the dark because the light is just so bright. You can see every key from every angle, which is unlike the M200, which is a really cheap one. Obviously we have to expect these kind of things when it comes to expensive keyboards. In this case, this is not an expensive keyboard. It just cost £30. So yeah, damn straight. Now the lighting, you can sort of use some different effects. Now I didn't find the ripple effect. I was sort of looking out for that a little bit, but I'm still fine with it because all I normally do is just either have it all lit up or just all the lights turned off, and I don't really use any of the effects. But I'll just go through them right now. We've got the wave effect, I think what they call it. We've also got the Tetris effect, and we've got the pulse. We have the where all the lights are just turned off, so it's not even on. But the thing with this is that even if all the lights are turned off, the LEDs, I can still see the keys perfectly fine in the dark just with a little bit of light, because the keys are just so white and the text on it is just so black. You can see a little standing out, and that's really awesome. Okay, I'm guessing everybody wants to hear what it sounds like when you're typing on it, so here's a little demonstration of me writing a note for no reason. This is not a scripted video or anything, because when I do scripted videos, it makes me sound like a robot. So here's what it sounds like with each of the keys, and also when you're gaming. Now I find this keyboard so comfortable to use because it's just so small. I can move my mouse right next to it when you're not having the number pad, and it sort of like changed my setup a little bit, and I feel more comfortable using it now. And when it comes to gaming, it's still just a monster. It's better than the M200, even though it's just a little noisier. I wear the headphones and I cannot hear any of the noise other than just tiny clicks like from the mouse buttons. But other than that, I can't hear anything. It is noisy when you take off the headphones. You hear the complete noisiness of it, but these headphones sort of cancel out a lot of noise, and I can only hear just clicks each time I press a button. And when it comes to gaming, like I said, it's just really cool. Now, you know, FPS shooters don't really make much of a difference. On here, I did sort of get quickly used to the feeling. There's no learning curve to it. At first, I felt like I didn't press the button, but as soon as it just goes a tiny bit down, obviously it acts as if it's pressed, unlike when it clicks actually. Obviously, then it's pressed as well, but I sort of needed to get a little used to it, but it was just so easy. Like I said, there's no learning curve to it. Just press a tiny bit of the button and it just acts like that. So it's straight up sensitive. And I played CSGO. That's all I've played lately. I don't have a lot of time to play any other games. In fact, I don't have any other games on this thing to play, so just don't take my word on that. I can say, however, this is way better than the M200. There's no wrist rest, and that just might sound a little uncomfortable, but the thing is, I find this a lot more comfortable than the M200. The thing with the M200 was the wrist rest was just angled really bad, and it was just so short. It just, instead of using it, you're better off not using it. But then if you don't use it, you can't reach for the keys because of his big size, right? Now, obviously, I won't be showing the M200 in this video, and I know you guys want to see it, but I've got another review on that, so you can go check that out. Just keep in mind, I did not have any of these keywords or any other things around here, so I'm obviously going to say good things about it. But the thing is, the M200 is a really good keyboard. It's not bad. The only thing I don't like about it is just too big, and that's obviously a kind of issue that can be solved because there is a shorter version of it. I think I've seen somewhere. Either way, you know, I find this keyboard really comfortable to use, and I have no problem with it. It may be just a little noisy, but you have to expect that from mechanical keyboards, and I didn't find it as noisy. I haven't really done a gameplay video to hear it at the background, but you can probably, you know, make out for the sound of it. So here goes another sample, so you can just listen to that. Okay, so do I recommend this keyboard? This is the end of the review or whatever. The only thing I don't like about it is basically nothing, because I haven't really found anything not to like about this thing. Now, I do definitely recommend this thing. For £30, it couldn't have been any cheaper for a keyboard like this. I mean, it might not have RGB lighting, but that's just a little bit of a gimmick stuff, right? I mean, it has everything else you need. It's basically a tiny keyboard, mechanical keyboard, that is, in a really small form factor. Now, I was looking for a keyboard, a tiny one, previously in my life, I think. Well, I don't really remember when it was, and I didn't know until I popped up to this one. I find this really just a tiny keyboard, and I thought there wouldn't have been a tiny keyboard because nobody would have bought it. But this is small enough. This is really tiny. Now, it may be just noisy, but like I said, that's expected from mechanical keyboards, and I do recommend this. Really recommend this as compared to the Corsair and the Razer mechanical keyboards, which are obviously full size and everything, but they are a lot more expensive with a little bit of change. So that's it for this video. I do really recommend this keyboard. If you are gonna get it, there are some, you know, tiny effects that you can pull off and stuff, which I'm not really a fan of. I mean, I don't really care much. I mean, yes, it does make it look good and everything, but at the end of the day, you're gonna be using it with the lights turned on or off or something. But that's me, I guess. Thank you for watching this video. Hope this video helped you out a little bit, maybe never, or maybe not, or something like that. I am fasting, by the way, so forgive me for all this rumbling and mumbling. Other than that, I will see you again in a different review, and this is basically the end of the video. Now I'm just gonna ruin it for you guys. I'm just gonna say the Xperia Z Ultra, I'm sort of gonna review it, but I haven't really caught up to that yet. So just give me a little bit more time. I'm gonna review it, and the review is good sort of coming up maybe in the next month or earlier than that, I don't know exactly. But thank you for watching, and I will see you again in a different video.